Hi, class. Welcome to week 8. Wow. We are already almost at the halfway point of this class. It's moving fast. You're all doing great. I've been going through your grading, and you'll start to see more of these grades coming through in the coming weeks here. But I've been enjoying reading your discussion board posts. You've been very thoughtful and responsive to your classmates. You're just doing great. So keep up the good work. And remember to keep checking your emails and always remember to communicate with me. If you have any questions or, if you have any concerns about an assignment, just make sure that you talk to me about it. I'm here to help. I've been posting my office hours. You have my email. So I just want you all to know to feel free to connect with me. But for this week, let's jump right in. Let's dive right in. And what this topic is for this week is career exploration. Now, this class isn't like our Guidance 3, where the whole theme of the course is geared towards career and life planning, but we are going to introduce career for this week's module. So the first thing that I want to just really point out is that I am aware that, students in this class are on a spectrum. Some of you have already chosen your major, and you're already close to achieving that goal and already close to graduating, which is really exciting. And there's some of us here that are completely undecided, which is also totally fine. And then some of us here may have already found some majors we're slightly interested in, and that's great too. No matter where you are on the spectrum with choosing a major and finding your career, you are in a good place, and you still have plenty of time to look into that major and career and to make your decision or to solidify that decision. So I first just wanted to point that out, that it's totally fine where you are right now. But I think all of us at one point have thought that, the career decision process, when we choose that career, or in college when we choose that major, I think some of us have kind of hoped that it would be almost like a fantasy situation where there's some sort of, sorting hat that decides the major for you based off of those interests in your mind, and it puts you in the proper place and you're good to go.
Right then. Right. Okay. Gryffindor!
Please forgive me. I had to play another Harry Potter clip. I tried to squeeze them in there where I can. I think this one applied a little bit. Hope you like Harry Potter out there. If not, totally okay. You just have to put up with some of those clips every now and then. But I think some of us have felt that way. I think some of us have felt that we hope that it would just be a quick process. I take a test and I know the career I'm supposed to be in, or I talk to a specific counselor and then I'll know, and then I will be on the right path. And then some of us too might think that, okay, well, maybe if I just go get an internship somewhere, then I will know, or if I read this book, or if I watch this video, that's how I know I'm going to get into the right career. And while all of those strategies are good strategies, and they are going to help you, not just a single strategy will get you to your goal. It's going to be a process, and it's going to be a organic, fluid process that's going to be continual through your time in college and possibly even beyond. So I don't want any of you to think that it's just a formula. If I do X, Y, and Z, then I'm going to find my major. It doesn't work that way. And the reason why I'm really making that point to start off here is that I want to recognize how important it is for you to get into the right career that fits you. And it is a big decision. It is eventually, to choose that major, and choose that career. It's a big decision. But I don't want you to rush it and feel like, oh, I'm going into business because my best friend's in business and I want to do things with my best friend. Or my uncle or my aunt was a nurse, so I should be a nurse because I want to follow in their footsteps. And that's okay. I mean, you have people who influence you throughout your life, but try not to make a decision about a career based off of somebody else or somebody else telling you to do a major. that should never dictate the major you go into. If you have somebody in your life telling you, well, you should do this or you should do that, this job makes a lot of money, or this job here I think suits you well. Although you appreciate their feedback and you appreciate that they care enough to tell you those things, they're not going to be the one going to work for you and paying your bills. You got to make sure that you find a job that you love going to that job every day, and you find something that you're passionate about. So there are people that I will go over today that I recommend for you to talk to. There are certain people that will help guide you in the right path. And then there's some people that are there for their own personal reasons to give you advice. So it's just being able to filter through and find, okay, who do I talk to and how do I make the right decision? So that's really the first thing, is we know that it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen by one test or talking to one person, or one strategy isn't going to solve your career or major exploration problem, right? It's going to take time, and you want it to take time. So this is what we say. As counselors, we say that it's a process, and start off with step one. And step one is to really figure out who you are. What makes you you? So for me, like, what made me me? What made Kirk, right? It was a question I had in my mind for so long. What made me who I was, and what did I want to become? And that starts with self-assessment. That's the first thing you got to start with, is a self-assessment. And that takes form into those career tests or personality quizzes that maybe you've done or maybe you've heard of before. And actually this week, all of us are going to do a career self-assessment through the Chafee portal. And it's called Focus to Career, and it's going to be an assignment you're going to turn in, and later in the module I'll explain how to do it. I got pictures and a video in there to show you how to do it. But you're going to do this assessment. That's going to be your first step. So the first step is to figure out, what are your interests? What do you like? What are the things that shape you around you? What is it around your life that shapes who you are? So that's the first thing, is self-assessment. Figure out, what are your skills? What are your interests? What's your personality? What is your idea of a work and a career? What do you want your career to be? And start off by taking the Focus to Career assessment, but ask yourself those questions. What to you is important to you? Think of 5 things. What are 5 things that are really important to you? So, and be honest with yourself on these 5 components here. So for you, if these 5 things are really important to you, if it's, okay, for you, it's, I want to make a lot of money. Sure. If that's an important thing for you, take note of that. That's important to you. For you, if it's, I want to be creative. I want to be a creative person. I want to make sure this job, it incorporates some sort of creativity in there. If for you, you say, I really want to travel. I want to travel for my job. Or I want to be able to really be able to public speak, and I want to be able to collaborate with other people. Put that in. Think about those things. Think about all those really important traits to you that you desire from a job. Where do you see this job? Is this something in corporate America? Do you see yourself working in an office, or do you see yourself, self-employed? Do you see yourself in a space that is different every day? It's a different environment each day, and the job has so many facets of it. Or do some of you say, I love working with numbers, and I like to have structure, and I want this job to be very similar every day? And no matter what that is, be honest with yourself. There's no right or wrong answer there. You got to figure out, what is it to you that is important to you? Do you want to help people? Is that the center of what you want to do? It was for me. I wanted to work with students. I wanted to be able to make an impact. So I got into counseling, and eventually I got into teaching, because I wanted to be a part of making a difference and hopefully working with people to make a positive change. That was something that was important with me. So write those things down. Think about that while you're going through your self-assessment. So that's step one, self-assessment. Step 2 is the actual exploration. So after you do focus to career, you're going to have some scores. They're going to tell you, okay, hey, your personality scored really high here or really low here. And it's going to give you a list of these different scores that I want you to really think about. And it's going to do a number of things. It's either going to solidify a personality trait that you knew was already there, or it's going to create something new that you never knew was there. And that happened to me. I found out, wow, I have a huge creative side to me. And you might discover something else. You might find, wow, I discovered I'm actually really analytical, which is really exciting to really figure out what are your interests. And it will change, mind you. This will change. You know, from who I was when I first took that career test back in high school was way different than who I was when I took a career assessment at age 25. And if I were now to take a career assessment in my 30s right now, it would be different than it was back then. So I want you all to realize that too, is that this will change. Your interests will change over time. But for right now in your exploration phase, I want you to first take what you got from the focus to career assessment, and now we put it into the real exploration. So there's a couple of strategies that I want you all to think about for exploring. And the first thing to do is to talk to people who are in that career. You network, you talk to them, you figure out somebody who works in that field. So let's say one of you in this class says, wow, you know what I realized after doing that focus to career assessment, one of the jobs that really aligned with it was marketing. Was working in marketing, business marketing. And wow, I never knew that. It's kind of exciting. What is business marketing? And okay, it's really kind of piquing my interest. I like what it looks like, at least on paper and what I'm reading about on the websites. Well, talk to someone who works in marketing. Now, how can you talk to someone who works in marketing if you don't know anybody? Well, a good source for that is LinkedIn. I don't know if any of you have used LinkedIn before, but it's a great tool. LinkedIn is a social media app geared towards networking with people in different careers and different pathways. So for example, you can create a LinkedIn profile and you can then connect with someone who works in marketing at a company like, let's say, Disney or Google, or maybe a smaller firm that you see yourself starting with. And you can talk to them and conduct a business interview with them, an informational interview, and ask them questions. Now, you don't want to ask these people questions like, okay, so do you like what you do? That's fine. You can ask them that question, but you want to ask them questions like, okay, what does your day-to-day job look like? What does it do? You know, from start to finish. Can you walk me through? What does your day look like? And they might tell you, yep, I'm up early. I get to the job. And I have a meeting right away. I'm meeting with our CEO and I'm meeting with my marketing team and we're collaborating. Okay, great. Now you got some information of what the day-to-day looks like. You know, so you want to ask them questions like that. You want to ask them, okay, you know, how did you get into the field? What do you recommend for me to be competitive for the field? How, you know, is just getting a degree in business helpful? Should I get a certificate? Should I get an internship somewhere? You need to ask them these questions that will be able to benefit you for the future. You know, asking somebody, oh, do you like your job? And they say, yeah, I like my job. It's really fun. I really like it. Is that going to benefit you in the future? It won't, because you're going to take from that, hey, it's good to know. She really likes her job. I hope I like my job. It's a sweet question for you to be able to find out from them. But you want to ask the questions that are really applicable to what you need to know about the job and about the career. What are the things that are really difficult about your job? What are the things you really love about your job? So not just, you know, do you like it, but why do you like it? What's the best part of your job? What are the things that are the most difficult? So conduct informational interviews with people in the field, and LinkedIn's a great source for that. Another route too, another really good way to go about this too, is to take a course in that field. So let's just stay on business here. And you find out that after you do that focus to career assessment, that business is something that you're finding yourself interested in. Maybe take intro to business. Kick it off with an intro to business class. That's a great way to go because now you're immersing yourself into the material. Now you're taking a class in there. You're starting to see, okay, I'm learning about it. Do I like this? You're talking with other students who are interested in business. You're talking with a teacher. You're learning the very specific, policies and procedures, and you're gaining information about the field and see what you think. If it's psychology, take intro to psychology. If it's computers, take intro to computer information systems. So there are a lot of different classes you can take to also continue that exploration. So we've talked about a couple different strategies: informational, interviews with people within the field. LinkedIn's great for that. Maybe taking a course in that field is a good way to go. Another route to go to in your exploration component is to talk to a professor who teaches that subject. So we have professors all over campus, and right now we're online, so you can email and you can connect with them through video chat, and you might be able to talk to them and say, hey, I got some questions about this major and I want to know if it's right for me. Can I ask some questions to you about the business field, about the psychology major? What can I do with a major in psychology? If you're interested in sociology, hey, I'm kind of interested in sociology, but I also just want to know, hey, is my options open? What can I do with this major? You could talk to a professor about that. So that's a really good resource to use. And we actually have community advisors that you can talk with that are designated to different majors. And you can talk to them. They're professors, and they're there to talk to you and guide those discussions in your exploration. So those are a few really good resources to utilize while you explore. Another exploration resource is to use websites like bls.gov. Now, bls.gov, and I'll put these links in this module so you can click on them, but there are websites you can go to explore and learn more about the major. So, for example, bls.gov is a government-run website. It's not a pretty-looking website. You'll see when you click on it, but the information's really good on there. So if you go to the top search bar on bls.gov, for example, you could type in the major. So let's stick with business. You could type in business marketing, or you could type in a marketing manager. And what it'll do is it'll tell you, what's the job outlook? Is there going to be jobs? Is this a job that is there going to be a lot of employment opportunities in this field? What does this job make every year? What's your yearly salary? What does this job look like on a day-to-day basis? And what's the education required to reach this goal? So these are things that you need to learn about before just selecting a major. If you find out after you do the self-focused to career assessment that, oh, it's business that you should get involved with, or it's becoming a physical therapist, it all sounds great, but you need to know the hard facts. You need to know, okay, that sounds great, but what's the education required? What do I need to do? Do I need a bachelor's degree? Do I need an associate degree? Do I need a certificate? Do I need a doctorate? What do I need to accomplish this goal? And that could sway your decision, right? You needed to figure out how much time is it going to take to reach that goal. Another thing too is you need to see, again, how much does this make? Are you going to be able to, does it fit your needs? Is that going to make enough money for what you're looking for? Does it go into your interests? Is it something that you could see yourself being passionate about? So these are things you really got to look at, is how much education is required, right? So the website like bls.gov is great. Focus to career, the assessment is going to go over some info, and it's great. So those are really good. Those are really good tools to look at, and I'll put those links here in the module for you to look at. Also, 1T Online. That's another really good resource too. So I'll make sure to put that in there too. So let's recap. The first thing we recommend for career exploration is to self-assess. Take the focus to career, see what your interests are, what makes you you. Once you figure that out, once you take the assessment, start to explore. Conduct some informational interviews with people in the field. Maybe take a course in that major. Start to immerse yourself into it. Maybe talk to a professor. Maybe explore on the website. See what the education is required. See how much money it makes. See what the day-to-day of this job looks like. See if this fits you. You got to explore it. You got to do the research. You got to go to the websites, right? And another route too is you can get an internship. If you're really interested in, you've done your research, you've talked to people in the field, you've looked on the different websites, you've taken courses, and you're saying, hey, this is, I think, for me, get an internship. Go work in that field. Go take a look at it. See what's out there. You can go on websites like Indeed.com and find internships at different, businesses, at schools. They're all over. And that's a good way to go. Because again, you're immersing yourself into that field, and you won't know unless you really do your research and give it a try. So the step 1 is self-assessment. Step two is exploration. Now the third step is to make the decision. It's to make the decision. And this can change. Of course, this can change. But this is when you want to begin to define your career goals. This is when you want to start making some of those decisions and start to set goals. And we've already talked about goals. Set a SMART goal, something specific and measurable and attainable and realistic and timely. Start setting a goal that's both short-term and long-term for this major. What can I do this week, this month, this semester to help me prepare for this major and for this career? So you want to start setting goals that will help you reach that goal. So step 3 is the decision-making process. And this is, you want to talk to counselors. You want to talk to our career center. You want to talk to people in the field. Talk with family. Take notes for yourself, and you want to really make this decision. So you will be the one to make it, but you want to talk to people and really make sure you're making that really, educated decision before you just really jump into it. The fourth step is to actually plan, to conduct an educational plan. And this is where you want to meet with a counselor. Now, I am a counselor. Would love to do that with you. We can totally make an educational plan together. And I work with an amazing department, and we're all here to help and help create an educational plan for you to reach your goal. So think of an educational plan as an action plan. It's there to create a set of courses in a specific set of semesters for you to reach your goal. And that goal could be reached at Chafee, if the major or the career requires an associate's degree, or it might require a bachelor's degree. So we're going to get you on track to transfer. But you need to talk with a counselor to set up that educational plan. But that doesn't come until you really self-assess and you really explore that major and you really decide, oh, this is for me. Then, yes, create that educational plan with a counselor. That's what we're here to do with you. And if you'd like to talk to us about exploring and you have questions, that's what we're here for too. So I want you to know that you can talk to us for educational planning purposes, but you can also talk to us just as you're exploring. We're here for that. There's no, you don't have to have a requirement to come talk to us. Come and talk to us. Come talk to me. That's what I'm here for. And I want you all to just know that I'm a resource here always to help you out with that and to help you take that goal in your mind and that major, that career, and to make it a reality. Because that's really important for you to realize, is that these goals and these dreams, they'll stay dreams and goals if you just keep them there. But you can make them a reality if you come and set these specific goals and talk with a counselor and create an action plan. We can make it work. If you want to become a doctor, we can make that work. And I can go over there with you and show you these are the steps that you need to do to accomplish that goal. So that's really something to would be the educational planning component. Now, here's something to really point out. Is some of you here, after you do the self-assessment and you explore, you might realize that you have multiple majors or careers that you're interested in. That's okay. That's 100% okay, because you are just a myriad of complex pieces that make you who you are. You're not just one thing. You're not just one interest. Your career doesn't define who you are, and one interest doesn't define who you are. I know for me, I have multiple hobbies and interests that I love and I want to and will pursue. For me, there's 8 different lives I wish I can live. And that's really something that you all should really be aware of, is that, let's say you find love in psychology. you probably will have a love in maybe 2 or 3 other areas too, maybe more. I know for me, I have a huge passion in the creative art space. I really do. I love to be creative in a lot of different routes. But I love that. That's a part of me. That's part of who I am. And for you, that might be the same case for you too. You might take this assessment and realize that, wow, I have a lot of interests. What do I do? So watch this brief clip of this TED Talks of this man who talks about 3 different interests that he loves. And I'm going to give you a brief little snippet here. So let's watch this.
And I felt like I needed help. So I asked my friends, who is the wisest man in town? And they sent me to William Spong, the seminary professor, who had a reputation for tough love and clear-eyed truth. And I said, look, I love theology, I love theater, and I love business education. So you tell me which one to do, and I'll do it. And he said, that is the stupidest question anyone has asked me. Because you just told me you love 3 things. And you're asking me which of your limbs you should cut off so you can limp along on the remaining one. You have to do all 3. I said, yeah, but what am I going to do for a living? He said, we'll see. I said, but what about my career? He said, you don't need a career. You need a calling. I said, this sounds weird. He says, yes, but if you don't do it, I can't help you. So my requirement, if you want to work with me, is you promise to spend 2 hours every week, at least, wholeheartedly engaged in each one of these things. And if not, you're on your own. And I was furious because this directive so subverted my expectations. I had come in for someone to give me a path that I could go down with all my might. I wanted a shot of cortisone, and he gave me this weird homeopathic thing. Summed up in his motto, don't discard. Which is so counter to everything that I'd ever heard. If you're going to be credible, if you're going to take your gifts seriously, you got to pick something and do it. You got to bear down and hold your nose and work and do it. Don't discard. That keeping each one of these things that you have the gift to love in the mix creates a conversation among them that becomes your reliable source of inspiration.
So now that you watch that, you can see that he had 3 interests and he went to an expert, right? And that expert said, don't just stop pursuing one of them. You need to pursue all of them. You need to see how it goes. So after that clip, what ends up happening, and I'll put the link down there if you want to watch the whole thing. But he ends up continuing on, and he continues towards business, and he continues to act, and he continues to study theology. Those are the things he really loved. And what ends up happening is, as he doesn't just stop his interests, he pursues all 3 of them. What he finds out eventually is that they intersect, and they end up all working together. His passion for theater and acting benefited him in business, because what happened was that he was very quick on his feet and he was very entertaining in his presentations. So he started being asked to travel around the country and give these theatrical business presentations. That's not something he would have known before going into business or theater. It just happened. The job presented itself because it was something he loved and he was passionate about. He was able to take his passion for theology and the deep philosophical thinking that was taking place in that, and he was able to apply that in his acting and be able to apply it in his business ventures. So what's the point? What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that pursue what you love. And if there's multiple passions of what you love, keep those in mind. Now, sure, you might eventually have to make a decision on this is the major that I'm going to pursue for my career. But if let's say you love business, but you also love music, it doesn't mean go for business and you got to stop the whole music thing. You got to cut that out. No, because that's part of who you are. So sure, maybe you make the decision to get into business, to create a career in business, but you can still participate in music, and maybe they'll intersect, or maybe not. But there'll still be a good hobby that makes you who you are. maybe it'll intersect, and maybe you work in the music business and you're working on the corporate side and helping out with marketing for a records company. Or maybe they become part of you to where the knowledge and the experience you have with music begins to blend into your business environment. So what I'm trying to just encourage you all is to pursue what you love, and hopefully the self-assessment, the focus to career assessment, can kind of begin to spark those processes in your mind, and you can start, just those gears start moving, and you start thinking about the things that you really love. But I want to encourage that if you find that there's multiple interests in your mind and what you're pursuing, that's okay. And you don't have to cut things off of who you are in order to pursue other ventures. It can happen. They might blend together or they might not, but still keep those there because it's who you are. So at the end of the day, we have very technical strategies for you to reach your goals, and we went through them: self-assessment, exploration, decision-making, educational planning to reach those goals. And we went through very specific strategies, which are great and they help. But I want you to know that it is a process. It's going to take time. But pursue what you love. Pursue a career and a major that you find yourself just falling in love with, that really captures the essence of who you are and those interests of who you are. And don't cut those things off of out of your life just because they don't fit into one major or one career. Those things could help you in your career. Those things are still hobbies and interests that you can still keep a part of your life. So I want to encourage you all to just know that it's a process and continue that. And don't be discouraged if you don't know it right now, or if you know and you're feeling great. I want you to encourage others and know that it's something that will take time. Some of us have the blessing of knowing what we want to major in as a kid and know what career we want to be as a kid. And that's great. Good for those people. That's a really rare trade, and I'm happy for them. But also, too, there's a lot of us who don't know. And maybe as a kid, we wanted to be an astronaut, and we grew up later, wow, I'm terrified of space. I don't want anything to do with outer space. I want to do something else. And we don't know, and we're still exploring that. And I just want to encourage you and let you know that you are 100% okay with where you are right now. And it is going to be a full exploration process that you're going through. But you have resources, you have strategies, and you have people around you, like counseling and like our Career Center, that are here to help and support you along the way. So all you got to do is ask, and all you got to do is reach out to those people. And one last thing before I let you all go, we do have an extra credit opportunity coming up very soon. So I want you all to just take advantage of that. It won't hurt you. If you get a question wrong, I'm not going to mark it against you. But I want you all to consider taking the extra credit midterm. It is optional, but I want to consider you to do it. I did notice there are a good number of students that are missing assignments. We got some students missing some really big core assignments, and this extra credit opportunity will really give you the chance to really boost up your grade. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it yet, view the announcements on our main page and look over the extra credit opportunity. I'm going to be posting more about it in the next week or so to really get you all prepped and ready for it. But again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. We still have plenty of time this semester for you to get your grade up or to keep your grade where it is. But keep a lookout for any emails and announcements that are coming out, because I send them on a regular weekly basis. So again, hope all is well, and thank you all for being part of my class. I am just very appreciative of each and every one of you, and again, just keep up the good work. So stay safe out there, and again, anytime you have questions, let me know. Take care.